Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Buffs On Podcast. We are the best POD in the 313. We've been away for a minute. We got some summer league stuff to discuss today, a little delayed, but it's pretty much all the news we got right now. We got Gabe, we got Valley, we got me. Connie is out this week, but we'll hopefully have him back soon. Uh, we got a little bit of a different take on it. We're going to do a little draft between Gabe and Valley. They're going to draft a player from the summer league roster. We're going to do two teams of three, and we're just going to talk about the player that they choose and what we liked from that player, what we didn't like from that player. Kind of keep it a little free flowing on this pod. So, guys, give me think of a number between 1 and 10, and we'll start with Gabe. Blurt it out.
I go 8.
I'm gonna go 8. I'm gonna
Uh,
go 8.
I'll
Valley.
go, I'll go a nice even 5.
Nice even 5. Well, I'm born on November 8th, so the number is 8.
Damn,
Gabe,
my number.
you get the first pick on today's Summer League draft. Who are you taking? Because I really have no idea who you're going to choose from the Summer League roster.
Yeah, it's Ron Holland. There's no surprise here. He was the captain of this team. He is basically the de facto point wing, I'd say. Had the ball in his hands all the time, was always attacking, and he did end up making the all Summer League second team. Bit of a snub for the first team, but that's all right. We won't pick straws there for that one. He showed incredible defense. He had so many steals in the passing lane. He got to the rim over and over again, got to the line over and over again. But of course, the thing that changed the most from his performance last year was he shot 50% from three. Um, just barely under that actually. Sorry, let me look at the stats here. 47% from three. They looked really smooth, good footwork. A lot of them were straight swishes in the corner. He had some heaves as well that also hit nothing but net. So the future for Ron Holland just looks incredibly bright. He looked like the best player on the floor in every single game he played, of both teams, and he looked poised, he looked controlled. There was one time, it was I don't know who was commentating, but they said he needs to keep his cool here and not be like the rookie that he was last year, but show leadership according to this team. And then he did. He calmed down. He picked up two fouls in quick succession. You can get 10, so it didn't really matter. He calmed down. He got some more steals, and yeah, he is just incredible poise. He was everything I could. I think we all predicted that he was going to be too good for this league, and he was, and so he didn't play all the games, and that's deservingly so.
Yeah, I think it's a blessing to think. I mean, we've come on here and said a couple of times, like, oh, this player is a second year player or whatever. They should take over Summer League. And they haven't. And it was nice to see Ron Holland come in and do what he was supposed to do. Even picking up a tech in Summer League. He tweeted out that he didn't mean to, but we know you meant to, Ron. It's fine. Uh, Valley, who are you taking with the second pick, unless you have anything else to add on Ron?
Yeah, just really quick. I think the two numbers in the splits that stand out to me for Ron on top of the 22 a game is the 46.7% three-point clip. That's what was most promising, I think, when you're just looking at it from a box score perspective, and 4 steals a game. I think that's a clear indicator that he was just a level above. And when you look at the eye test, just watching that game quickly, you could see that Ron was the best player on that court every time he played. Saw it in that one monster second half. Just had the ability to just turn it on. Got to the free throw line a lot because he can just attack so well. But no brainer in terms of a first pick in this 3v3 draft. Do I get one or two picks here?
You choose.
I'll take the two. I'll take the two picks.
Take the two picks. I wonder who you're gonna take.
No, I get it out of the way because you won. So for my two picks, I think I really need a 1-2 combo here. And I think this is a 1-2 combo that you're able to see through Pistons media, through the Motor City Cruise last year. I'm taking Denise Jenkins and I'm taking Tolu Smith. Denise Jenkins, heck of a player, averaged 14 and 5 over the course of the summer league, but shot it really well, got really hot against oh boy, what was the team? Was it the Rockets? It was Houston Rockets
Oh
against
yeah, when he locked
when
up.
he fathered against fathered Reed Shepherd, really showed him who the better point guard was. Denise Jenkins, 21 a game, 7 assists in the G League with the Motor City Cruise last year. I think he showed that he's really worthy of a two-way spot. The question is if it can be anything more than that. But what you saw from him, I thought was just what you look for in summer league. I think you have kind of a veteran presence in a summer league scenario from him being a guy that's been in the summer league with the Pistons before already, and in the summer league just in general. Has the experience of the Carews, has some NBA minutes under his belt. A guy I think is really looked at highly in the organization here for the Pistons for what he provides and where he provides it from in his role. I think a no-brainer for him. He was pretty fun to watch. A fun watch when there was some rough basketball at times in the summer league, and his G League buddy, his teammate Tolu Smith, I thought was fantastic. Tolu, I've seen a lot of people say on Pistons social media and Reddit and Twitter and stuff that he could have easily just been that third string center. Like we could have saved some money on Paul Reed. I'm not going into that. Like I think Paul Reed has his worth, but that's another topic. But Tolu Smith seems like a very serviceable big man. The only knock I have on him, he seems to have an issue with fatigue at times, really hot starts, but 2.2 blocks a game. I thought he protected the hoop really well over the course of that summer league. Just a classic big body, and when you look at the Pistons roster, what have we called out for at times? Just a classic big man, a guy who boxes out. He's a big body, he rebounds. And that's all you can really ask for, protect the hoop. I thought Tolu Smith, in terms of what he did at his job, I think I'd give him like a solid A minus. Again, just held down the paint, made things a lot easier for the summer league squad, made things easier for the whole team and the coach just to have such a consistent figure. I think at the center spot for Tolu Smith, who again I think has cemented his two-way position with the Pistons, much like Denise Jenkins.
Yeah, Jenkins also shooting over 40% from three in summer league was very impressive. And you mentioned Tolu's 2.2 blocks per game. You also mentioned the fact that some of Pistons Twitter is believing that we could have saved money and used Tolu as a third string center instead of Paul Reed. Let's talk about Dennis Jenkins on the big league roster for a second. Has he done enough to threaten Marcus Sasser's spot on the roster?
The thing is, I actually felt like he did just watching him, and then I got a notification on my phone or something or some post. I forget exactly what it was, but it was like 2 years ago. Marcus Sasser dropped 40 in the G League or in the Summer League. So then I was like, no, never mind, because Summer League means absolutely nothing, and it's just a reminder because you don't even remember the 40 piece that Sasser had. Um, I just think that no, I don't think that's enough to overdo it. What Marcus Sasser is, I think he's just got enough of a spot and respect Marcus Sasser, and I think he could have easily done that as well, and more so, which he showed in the summer league in the past.
Very fair, very fair. One more note on Tolu Smith. I was listening to the Pistons Pulse podcast, and Motor City Hoops Bryce Simon mentioned that Tolu Smith is like a G League version of Jalen Duren. I think that's like a perfect way to put it because he's just energy. He's swatting stuff when he can. He made some nice passes too. That was pretty underrated. So, gonna be very fun to see Tolu Smith and Dennis Jackson back with the Motor City Crews, along with the third two-way spot, Kobe Jones, who the Pistons signed instead of Ron Harper waiving him. Gabe, any notes on Smith or Jenkins, or do you want to go into your next pick?
Yeah, Jenkins, I thought I was actually surprised his stats were that low. It felt like his impact was more than what the stat sheet showed. Like I said, he
Sure
often
did.
just absolutely locked up the opposing guy who was guarding, and that's where I do think he has the advantage over Sasser. He is more of, I think, a high floor guy where he's going to play good defense, hit his threes at a good clip, and he is coming around and scoring the ball more now. I don't think he's ahead of Sasser in the rotation, but I do like him on the roster just as a break in case of emergency. He almost reminds me of like a old Jose Calderon when we re signed him like a long time ago, where like he you just put the ball in his hands and he's not going to do anything crazy, but he's also not going to do anything bad. Tolu Smith, I was impressed by, but if Paul Reed has those minutes, he's going ham in the summer league. Um, so again, Tolu Smith happy that he's the fourth big on the roster, basically. And with my next pick, I'm actually surprised he came here. I'm gonna go with Bobby Clinton. I know he
Coming
did,
off of a down year in summer league,
yeah,
surprised he fell far.
yeah. He didn't. I wouldn't say his stats or his shooting splits were amazing. They're actually pretty bad.
Right.
But the type of game that he showed was really unique. I thought some of the passes he didn't just make, he created these angles, these openings where he'd sling it around the defender with his really long arms. It was just really cool to see. He had some amazing passes. They really were the next level. And then defensively, I thought he did it more than hold his own. He had some great blocks. Usually he came in with the left hand, which I thought surprising them all. And then also he got the step inside steals where when the ball would come back out to the top, he'd often just he's so long. He reaches out in front and then he'd just be out on the break. 3-point shot looked a little flat. But again, I think from the history of him being a shooter, that's going to come around. He still doesn't quite look NBA ready, I gotta say, but to have him on the roster again, like he's a guy I think has the natural skill set of a basketball player that you want to keep around. And he did look like, if you put him around, if you put good shooters around him and a lob threat, I think he is much more valuable than surrounded by players who don't necessarily maximize his skill set. So I really, I'm excited to see him get a few minutes this next upcoming season. I don't think he's going to be in the rotation, but it would be cool to see that just a big guy who can really pass and really handle. And it's rare to see those guys at his size.
29% from three in Summer League and last year in the G League. So a little thing to keep an eye on moving forward. He also has criticism as being a poor point of attack defender. Did you notice that at all, Gabe?
Again, the people in the summer league aren't gonna they're not really ISO scorers. It's mainly they're like big guys or just a lot of threes. I felt he did pretty good. He wasn't exposed, I think, by a lot of players, but then again, he wasn't hunted by Steph Curry over and over, right? Um, and like I said, his timing help side was I thought really good. And I didn't notice I remember one play where he kind of got pump faked and he jumped way too high and then the guy just ran right by him. But for the most part, I thought he was a neutral of like point of attack against we'll say low level to borderline NBA talent.
Fair, fair. I do like you mentioned, the passing was incredible. He sees the floor really well, on both sides of the floor, picking off passes in the passing lane. Valley, I kick it back to you. Any notes on Bobby, or are you moving into your third and final pick? Who I'm pretty sure I know who it's gonna be.
Yeah, I'll touch on Bobby. I'm not gonna lie. I think I was very optimistic for Bobby and Gabe, yeah, you go next week.
I'll get
And
the next pick.
and just talking like I was very just really rooting for Bobby and his performances, and I want to touch on the positives first for Bobby. I do think there's a lot of the angles he can create with his size and his length and his passing ability. That is a very unique aspect that he has, but I wonder if that's just enough to give him any kind of minutes in the NBA. I um I think what you look for in these kind of games is a player who's just physically and and mentally above the competition. Obviously you want him to hit shots, but you want you want them to make the right reads. You often look for, steals, which he did read the passing lanes really well. You want to just see deflections and just like on eye test, the guy who's just better than the rest. And I think you saw it only in really rare flashes with Bobby. I think you saw that elite, that like just unique passing he has with the frame he has and the length he has. But I was incredibly disappointed, I think, overall with his overall ability to do anything on offense, really. I thought his jump shot looked pretty bad on a lot of just on a lot of releases, a lot of ugly misses there, and I thought it's just not the smoothest looking jumper mechanically. Defensively, I thought he got cooked a lot of the time. There were again flashes of what we could see with his length and the threat we could see from his length, but I was pretty disappointed, I think, in the performance of Bobby. I think I still have a lot of belief for him. I see the flashes in him, but he's nowhere near an NBA kind of body because I don't think he had a summer league kind of body. I think he was physically outdone in this competition, and that's obviously only going to ramp up in the NBA in the preseason whenever he might get the opportunity to see the court. So, um, passing's there, but I think other than that, I just wonder if there's enough there, um, to keep him on a court other than these flashes right now.
For sure, Bobby has a lot to work on moving forward. I don't know if he's NBA ready. A lot will be determined in preseason.
The flashes of passing brilliance and I guess the defensive potential just gives me reminders of the potential and the flashing capabilities of a certain Killian Hayes, who we just
Mm,
saw in flashes, and it was just like, okay, if you're not fit to put the ball in the hoop, than
Well,
than the
we know
player.
the bad luck that the number seven brings with the Pistons, and Bobby Klintman is number 34. You add three and four, you get seven. So I don't know if that's any indication or if I'm reading way too into a summer league number on a jersey. But I'm going to kick it back to Gabe to make his last selection to fill out his roster of, I'm guessing, homegrown talent. Gabe, who are you taking with your third pick?
Yeah, my third pick is the last starter. Also didn't impress mightily, I'd say, but Chaz Lanier, I think, was definitely the either fourth or fifth best player on this roster. He showed some real, a lot of the threes he took, I always expected to go in because they looked so smooth, they looked so fast and perfect, and then they just didn't a lot of the time. But I think this is a guy playing his first. This is probably the highest level of player he's played against ever. Coming from a good college program, but these guys are pros. The size, the distance of the 3-point line is an adjustment. Um, the mid ranges that he took, I don't think he's going to be able to take those. Bickerstaff will have those out of him by the time the season begins. But I thought his spacing, the way he moved off ball was really good. I remember a few plays where he'd kind of just drift to the left elbow behind the 3-point line and immediately just pull from deep range, and it was just straight butter both times. So I'm excited to continue to just watch him shoot. I thought he was actually kind of worse defensively than Clintman, which is again his first competition, so there's a little leeway there, but is a bit concerning that he has to be able to move to keep up with NBA defenders, especially at the position that he's at, and kind of the like chunkiness of his build. No offense, but I think his shooting will be legit. He might start cold like a lot of rookies do, and then when he finds his rhythm, if he does play, um, or in, I think he's going to put up major numbers in the G League if he plays there, and if not, he's going to eventually find a rhythm where I think he's going to be a legit shooter because that's how he looks like. When he releases the ball, it looks confident. Besides that, can't say anything else. Without a passer next to him, he looked really bad when he had to like lead any of the offense, but whatever, that's not his job. So I
Mm-hmm.
gladly pick that because I don't really know who else I would pick. So I'm excited to see who Valley picks as his last pick in this draft.
Very fair, very fair. While I talk for a second, can you pull up Chaz's 3-point percentage from Summer League? I don't have that in front of me.
I got it
Um,
whenever you need.
oh yeah, ready, shoot.
34.1.
34.1. Not
He's
terrible,
actually
not
higher than
strong.
his field goal percentage in the summer league.
By 0.02%.
Yeah, so I think we were all expecting a little more shot making from Chaz Lanier, but I don't think any of us are any lower on him now than we were when we drafted him. He does also have a really low set, quick release shot, which might have been impacted by the speed and the athleticism of the guys in Summer League. I also think that he could benefit from playing with a guy like Cade Cunningham because Cade can set you up a lot better than, no offense to Jenkins and Zakai Ziegler, but it's Cade Cunningham. So there's reason for optimism with Chad Lanier's shot. So I'm not really concerned about him at the moment, whether he is the 10th, 11th, 12th man on the bench or he is starting for the G League, Motor City Cruise. I'm very happy still with the Chaz Lanier pick. Valley, your thoughts on Chaz, or you can go into your third pick.
I like the shots that we saw, the shot selection from Chaz Lanier. I love the shots he took curling off the screen in the catch
Mm-hmm.
and shoot. Reminds you of Malik Beasley with the shot selection he took. Anytime a player went under, he didn't hesitate to let go. In terms of the shots he took, it was like what we're hoping for him to be. It was a mini Malik Beasley in the shots he was taking. Not worried about the percentage. I think it's more about the shots that he took. His jumper looks a little goofy. He also posted a little slow-mo video of his highlights and his jumper. It was just like it's just an interesting way he brings the ball up. But obviously not a concern for me. I love the shots he took. I think that's what's most to look forward to, not the percentages. He's a rookie going into it. You obviously have the excuse that it's just the summer league and it doesn't matter. For my last pick, I guess the options are a bit thinner now to join Tolu Smith and Denise Jenkins in my 3v3 team here. I think the obvious pick could be Zakai Ziegler, but when you're looking at Ziegler, I think especially with the signing of Kobe Jones, we have Denise Jenkins on a two-way, Sasser's still around, Ivy's back, K's there, obviously. Not a realistic pick for me. I'm picking from a different position. I'm picking something I just think we need, considering we lost some shooting, and I'm gonna go outside the box here. I'm gonna pick a 26-year-old from Indiana named Miller Kopp, who I thought shot the ball pretty well. When you're looking at guys who could maybe be that 15th man for this team, you can never hurt to have a guy that can just shoot the ball. Love myself a white guy that can shoot, and Miller Kopp doesn't like get more of a white guy name either. He could really shoot.
Don't call him Cam Spencer.
Don't call him Cam Spencer. That's Miller Kopp. Um,
Oh, uh,
he could shoot the ball, you know. I think back to times where Cole Swider actually got into the end of games. Boom, that's your guy. Think of Svi Mikhailuk who got into games, of Fontecchio at times.
Davidas
Add
Davidas.
Miller Kopp to that legacy. Dervitas Servitas, you know. We've seen arguably worse players get NBA minutes. Why not Miller Kopp as well? Shout out to Miller Kopp for shooting the ball. Hope he gets a G League spot somewhere.
Hope so, hope so. He did make a few nice shots in summer league, stood out a little bit. I believe it was in the third game. But any other notes on summer league before we move into more of the off-season stuff? All right. So just to recap, we got Cup, Jenkins, and Smith for Team Valley, and we got Team Homegrown for Gabe with Ron, Bobby, and Chaz Lanier. Let us know who you think is going to win in the 3v3 game between those two squads.
Who do you think
But with that,
is winning,
Yeah, I mean,
geez, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go Team Homegrown, but just going out on a limb. Uh,
I
but
well, for one thing, 3v3, that court spread out. Miller Kopp's the threat in the 3v3 scene. But I think just not having like a top pick. Obviously, Chaz was fun to watch, but I forget how boring the summer league is. Like I'm excited to watch basketball, and I find myself still not like watching the full game.
yeah, I mean, I actually enjoyed the summer league. Last year, I think it was because Ron actually played like two or
Yeah,
three
he
games.
played big minutes too.
He went big minutes, so like I was like ready for game three, and he was like playing or something, and I was like, oh, like I'm actually gonna enjoy this game. So I actually enjoyed the summer league a lot. My team of three would be Dawson Garcia, Zakai Ziegler, and Vitaly Potapenko. That's my team of three. So let us know who you guys
No
think is
bigger
taking
stuff,
that.
though.
No, hey, he didn't coach in summer league. I can't take him
He
yet.
played. DJ Bickerstaff.
Oh yeah. That bigger staff. I forgot. Yeah. I'll take that bigger staff. I liked him a little bit actually. He
Hustle
made like
guy.
he made one nice play, had a nice post afterwards, saying he was grateful for the opportunity. So I guess we'll go Bickerstaff, Ziegler, and Garcia. That's my team of three. Let's move into some more off-season stuff. Gabe brought up a good point in the chat. He actually made a statement saying that if any of us could talk us out of it, and I don't really think any of us could or want to, uh, Gabe believes that Ron Holland and Asar Thompson is the next elite wing duo in the NBA. Gabe, can you expand on that and why you think that this is the case, especially coming off of the summer league Ron Holland just had?
Yeah, well, starting off, of course, it's just a little a little Pistons drugs talking, but when you watch Asar play, there's things that he does that no other human except his twin brother can do. And then there's stuff that Amin does where you think, yeah, Asar could do that with an off season. And I think that's the off season he's having right now where Langdon, he said he's just living in the gym. He's just doing ball handling, he's getting stronger, he's learning how to create offense. Zach Lowe actually had him as his most intriguing player to watch for next season. His co-host Beck had Jaden Ivey, so there we go. But anyway, so Asar, I think hands down anyway, he's already proven he's a starter in this league, and that's without any offensive game, except being an exceptional cutter. And then to you need a guy beside that can kind of create his own offense and drive to the rim hard and have a good handle, and that could be what we saw in Ron Holland. He's still a long ways away, but the determination to get to the rim is what a lot of players don't have in this league. Um, and if his three-point shot really is legit, which I do think when you have the best coach in the league to teach that, when you are as like hard nosed to stay in the gym and you just want to work and get better. I think these guys have the perfect build, the perfect height, the perfect skill set of the modern NBA that if they realize their full potential, these guys can be on top of the world. I think there's no one that can athletically keep up with them. And then again, no one that can kind of overpower them. Dude, like, because they're tall, they're big, they're long, they're athletic. There's nothing they can't do theoretically, which is why I think next to a couple point guards that we have, these guys could be the next elite modern wings in the NBA.
Hard to argue with that. Gabe, your thoughts on Valley, your thoughts on Asar. We also saw some clips of Asar shooting and a picture of him dribbling. He does look like he has added a little bit of muscle this offseason.
Yeah, he certainly does look like he's added a lot of muscle, and I think that's the biggest thing for him. I think how many months ago, maybe even a year ago, we talked about what the most important thing to add is for Sar's game, and I said his weight, how much he's weighing, and I still think that's the case. If he can really fill out that frame, I mean, it's crazy to think how long he missed with that blood clot injury, obviously. And just getting those reps in is one thing, and we saw how much almost he got exponentially better over the course of the season when he got his minutes in, his reps in. Filling out that frame, I think, is going to be huge. And obviously, the same can be said for Ron Holland. And when you look at where they are in the timeline of their career, they still have so much time. So I think the biggest thing when it comes to Asar Thompson is filling out the frame. Who he is as a basketball player, I think he's underrated in terms of his basketball IQ. He really makes it work despite not having any kind of jump shot or not being guarded as a jump shooter whatsoever. Even if that stays where it is, which you wouldn't expect, if he's just able to really fill out that frame, make himself so much better in those scenarios. He's so quick off of his feet, just getting stronger. And I think the same can go for Ron Holland. And then when you're thinking long term about that, just defensively, Asar filling out his frame guarding 1 through 4, no problem on anybody. I think again, only Amen Thompson has the potential to be the multiple time defensive player of the year and just best perimeter defender perhaps we've ever seen, at least for the Pistons. And him and Ron, long term, that's your ideal 3-4 starting combo. I think obviously with Ivy and Cade, and then during the versatility you have there is just incredible. Ron, again, you could say you'd expect him to be able to switch 1 through 4 for the most part. If he fills out that frame, just so scary, I think. But I think Asar he really seems like he's been really dedicated to just putting muscle on it and doing the right things. I think we're hearing, yeah, he's worked on his jump shot some bit, but we're also talking about him working on all these other aspects of his game, which I really love, perfecting what he's able to do in his area of offense, where he's often backdoor cutting, nonstop off ball movement, just perfecting those things, filling out your frame is just going to make you so dangerous overall.
Asar Thompson, a lot of us are high on him, and not just on this podcast, but on podcasts everywhere. We're running low on time today, everyone, so we're going to cut this one a little bit short. We truly appreciate you tuning in and listening. Next week, we will talk about some of the rumors that are circulating the Pistons, Cam Thomas, Chris Boucher, Trey Lyles, who could join the roster, if anybody would, if you'd want to, if you want to trade for them. We'll find out next week as we talk about it then. But until then, throw the Buffs on Detroit, because the future is bright.